Good afternoon, LEC community. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual career fair today for aspiring and current Latinx education professionals. My name is Edgar Palacios. I'm the founder of the Latinx Education Collaborative, and I'm here with our Chief Community Officer, Susana. Hey, Susana, how are you doing?
Hey, Edgar, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I think I've asked you that question like 35 times today, and I'm glad your answer has not changed. This is good.
Yeah.
It's a good sign of a good day.
Yeah.
We are thrilled that we have Cal Umlauf joining us from the Literacy Lab. Hey, Cal, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So you're going to share a little bit about the Literacy Lab and the opportunities that are available there, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Awesome. I'm glad you also brought a PowerPoint, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you got.
All right, cool. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am, as Edgar said, Cal Umlauf with the Literacy Lab. I'm in the Kansas City, Missouri office. So most of what I'm talking about will be relevant to our local Kansas City experience. As you can see from the aforementioned PowerPoint, we also have offices kind of up and down the East Coast, as well as not on here yet, but St. Louis, Missouri will be adding a few schools next school year. So I'm going to jump right in and talk a little bit about what the Literacy Lab does, what we do in our city, and how we support our literacy tutors. So we are an AmeriCorps affiliated nonprofit. Our goal as an organization is to close the literacy gap. The literacy gap in Kansas City is one of our most pressing issues in the world of education. And how we combat that is by providing literacy support to students in pre-kindergarten through 3rd grade. We do that by hiring you all as tutors to provide literacy interventions with those students in a one-on-one setting or embedded in classrooms, similar to a paraprofessional. We are committed as an organization to the belief that literacy is a fundamental human right, and that's what we're here to do. We believe that in keeping with literacy being a fundamental human right, that literacy is the foundation for personal success, academic success, financial success, economic success, social success. It's a tool that everyone has a right to self-improvement through. But nationwide, there are 6.6 million children under the age of 8 who are on track to struggle with reading. And what we also know is, given our current climate, given the 3 months that are going to end up, or 2 months that are going to end up missing from the end of the school year and summer school, there are going to be even more kids next year who need literacy support.
Yeah, actually, let me stop you right there so I can ask you a couple questions on that, because I think that's a really important point. We're seeing locally our districts, our governors have made a determination along with education professionals that our schools will continue virtual learning through the end of the year, and we will not have that in personal interaction. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of literacy in general, in terms of like how important is the interpersonal interaction to developing literacy?
Yeah, the interpersonal interaction is huge, kind of across the board. Literacy is what we focus on, but I think any educator will tell you that, especially with the age groups we're talking about, learning in person goes a long way. We've all interacted with kids in this age group at some point in our lives, and they're at a developmental stage where they are they're learning through others. They're learning through interaction. They're exploring the world, trying to figure things out. And while they are perhaps more adept at learning through a distance platform than maybe we are even at delivering through a distance platform, you really can't substitute virtual learning for the in-person interaction. I think from a very simple and fundamental level, things as easy and simple as being able to write in real time on a whiteboard, letter sounds, doing daily sign-ins. We do a lot of, in the pre-K model, we do a lot of rhyming songs, things like that, which you can absolutely do through a virtual platform, but it's a lot easier to translate the energy required to really engage a student when you're able to do that in person. I think the other thing to consider here is access for folks at home. It's a lot easier to say we're going to move to a digital learning platform, and I think obviously that's an appropriate decision given our current circumstances. But not every family has access to the technology, to the internet, access to materials like reading passages, which are essential to practicing these skills. So having that in-person one-on-one time with a tutor is huge for developing these literacy skills. And even outside of the context of the current situation, a lot of these students are qualifying for services. A lot of these students are on track for reading failure because classrooms, we all know that a big problem in the education field is too many students per teacher. We don't have enough teachers to cover the capacity. And a lot of these students, the only one-on-one time they're going to get during the day is with a tutor. So right now we're doing our best to support distance learning. We're really excited to get back in the classroom next year. And we're really excited for tutors to be able to lend that additional support to classroom teachers through some one-on-one individuated attention.
I appreciate you sharing that and elevating that discussion, because I think it can often go unnoticed or missed. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason we talk about pre-K through third grade as being our focus group is in that age group, students are learning to read in the classroom. So we're offering supplementary support for that developmental level. 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they're learning all of these different skills, all of these different subjects that are then building blocks for kind of their taking their own self-possessed educational career once they kind of reach later elementary school, middle school, high school. And we talk a lot at the Literacy Lab about learning to read so that you can read to learn. Once you're in 4th grade, you have to have those essential literacy skills to be able to read instruction in your other subjects, to be able to interact with textbooks. And if you don't have those skills going in, you're just going to fall further and further behind. And that literacy gap is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So by stepping in where we do at pre-K through 3rd grade, we can close that gap early. So that way, when kids hit 4th grade, hit 5th grade, they have the fundamental skills where even if it takes them a little bit longer to read something, even if they struggle a little bit, they still have the fundamental word attack skills. They still have the fundamental literacy skills in place to be able to be successful as students in those upper grade levels and in those upper subjects. And of course, we can all acknowledge that all of these reading skills are going to be essential outside of the classroom. We're not just teaching folks to read so that they can do their homework. We're teaching them to read so that they can be successful, self-possessed citizens interacting in the world. They can read directions, they can get where they need to go, they can read instructions on a piece of technology or at the doctor's office. They can read the nutrition facts on a box of cereal. So these skills are super important, and by teaching them early on, we set students up for future success. So there are 2 primary ways that we make a difference in students' lives. So we talk about individual and small group tutoring time daily. We've got 2 different tutoring programs. One is just in pre-K classrooms, and one is K through 3rd grade. Pre-K tutors are embedded in the classroom, and they're there to make sure that that classroom has a literacy-rich environment. So they do all kinds of fun stuff during the day, like leading rhyming songs. They'll do transitions during the day that focus on letter sounds, spelling different kind of rudimentary word construction. They'll do a sign-in every day with their students. So they'll take kids for one-on-one time, but within that classroom setting. And they're really focused on building those essential literacy skills, supporting the teacher in building those skills, supporting parents and families in helping their pre-kindergartners get a really good foundation for going into school later on. Then on the K3 side of things, it's a little bit more scripted, a little bit more focused on individual needs of those students. So at the kindergarten level, they're going to be doing a lot of like letter sounds and then kind of basic word blending all the way up to 3rd grade. By that grade level, they're expected to know how to read. And the interventions that we're using with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders are really designed around helping our 3rd grade students hit that grade level so they can head into their 4th and 5th grade experience really knowing the skills that they need to know. All of our interventions are data informed. So the program and the materials were designed out of University of Minnesota. They've got a pretty phenomenal early literacy program. So all of the interventions are designed to meet specific needs where the students are at. And one of my favorite things about the program is it's really a team effort for kind of figuring out what each of those students needs. As a tutor, you'll have an internal coach at the school who's a classroom teacher or an administrator who knows the student body, who knows the families, who's going to help you assign the students to your caseload. And you've also got support in a master coach who works for the literacy lab, who's an early literacy expert who knows all of our materials super well, who will teach you the program model and help assign different interventions to different students. And then between the two coaches and then your program staff support, you'll have support across the board on a daily basis, making decisions, making data-based decisions so that you're really delivering the best content for your students.
So speaking of the people that make this happen every day, what positions do you have that are open now and that you're hiring for?
Yeah, so that's perfect timing for this slide. We're hiring for pre-K tutors and K3 tutors for the next school year.
Nice.
So as I said from the outset, we're an AmeriCorps affiliated program. So all of our tutors are AmeriCorps members who are then shunted to either the pre-K program or the K3 program, depending on their preference. Each of those positions is fully trained from the outset by us. So we have a week-long training program where you get to know all the materials. You don't need to have any experience in the field of education. You don't have to have any experience with our program, with our materials. You don't even have to have any experience working with kids. We're just looking for people who are interested in supporting literacy and interested in making a difference in the lives of students age 3 to grade 3. As long as you're coachable and you're interested in making a difference, you're going to be a great tutor. And then I also want to mention briefly our Leading Men Fellowship is another program that is designed to support another need that we see in the field of education, which is that representation matters, right? And in Kansas City classrooms, there are not nearly enough men of color teaching students of color. That's a problem here in Kansas City. It's also a problem nationwide. And that Leading Men Fellowship is a program designed to direct more men of color into the field of education. Given the current circumstances, that program is actually going to be hibernated for a year. But we're encouraging all of our current Leading Men Fellows to apply for tutor positions for next year. And we actually have about 5 of them coming on board as tutors next year, which we're really excited about. And we encourage anybody who's familiar with that program or would have been interested in that program and really considering a position as a pre-K tutor or a K3 tutor. All of the same support systems are going to be in place from that fellowship in the tutor course. So we're really, really excited to kind of utilize our pre-K and K3 models to meet that second goal of more representation in the classroom.
I appreciate that. I'm familiar. I had the pleasure of meeting, I think, your first cohort of Leading Men Fellows, and it was a fantastic opportunity. To your point, I think less than 1% of educators are men of color. And so it's definitely a huge need and something that I think the Literacy Lab does really well. It also sounds like this is a great opportunity for those folks that might not know if they want to be a teacher yet, that are a little hesitant to kind of step into that world. Have you noticed that that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. I think one of the great things about our program and about kind of the AmeriCorps partnership that we have in place is this is a job that is a contracted position for a school year. You can obviously do it for more if you're interested in doing it for longer, but it's a great way to kind of test the waters, see if you're interested in working in a school environment. We've got about, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe somewhere above 50% of our tutors end up in the education field, which is wonderful, which is what we're designed to do. But it's a great way for folks interested in going into teaching to figure out if that's something that they're really passionate about. They feel like they've got the skills to handle. Feel like it's a good fit. I think one of the other things that I really work hard to do on the program end is connect our tutors with opportunities in the field of education. We interact a ton with KCTR, Teach for America, Urban Teacher Corps. A lot of different programs are pulling their current cohorts from our tutor corps. We've got a dozen current tutors who are applying for those programs for next year. A few of them have already accepted positions. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for folks to kind of test the waters, see if being in a school, see if being in a classroom around kids this age group is what they want to devote their professional lives to, for sure.
Now, I appreciate that. Do you have any age limits? So let's say I'm in my mid-30s and I want to step into the education world. Is that okay?
That is not only okay, it's super, super welcome. I think our biggest strength as a program is our diversity of tutors and diversity across the board. You know, we've got a lot of different gender identities. We've got a lot of different age groups. Some of our most successful tutors have actually been retirees who have come back. You know, they're looking to stay busy after they've retired, and our program is a perfect fit for them. We've got a couple of tutors this year who are actually coming back for another school year next year because they just love working with the kids. 2 of them over 70, so that's been super, super exciting. And the great thing there is, you know, a lot of our tutors have a partner tutor at the site, so there's a lot of collaboration between different tutors, and we have no minimums either. So, well, we do have a minimum. You have to be 18 years old, but once you're 18, all the way to the end of your professional career, there's a spot for you in our program, and there's always a way to deliver this essential service to kids regardless of age or circumstance or professional experience or anything like that.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that, Cal. We have roughly 2 minutes left in our conversation, so I want to quickly just post a slide up here. If you are interested in the Literacy Lab, make sure to follow them on their social media accounts. Those are right in front of you. Also, we are placing the opportunities in our comments, as well as a form that you can sign that we can directly connect you to Cal if you're interested in being a part of the Literacy Lab and being a tutor for the upcoming school year. Cal, I know you may have a couple more slides, so feel free to share, but I want to make sure that we made that announcement to our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. I'll go through these pretty quick, but I just want to second that. Yeah, if you want more information that we weren't able to cover, if any of this looks interesting to you, or maybe you know someone who would be interested, for sure share this. Share this with them or direct them to our website, www.theliteracylab.org. We've got our application right there. If you want more information before you're applying, feel free to poke around on the website or email me directly. I'll make sure that my email address is attached to all of this. So this kind of walks through that tutor support system that I was talking about a little bit. The main point of this slide that I really want to drive home is we don't expect anyone to do this on their own. We've got this, early childhood literacy is a big problem and it requires a big solution, and that involves program staff, it involves a master coach, it involves internal coaches at the school, and it involves you. This is a team effort to make sure that your students get the support they need. So we never want our tutors to feel like they're unprepared to deliver this essential service. We'll make sure you're fully trained in everything and feeling totally comfortable, and have that support system in place. All of our tutors, and we've kind of talked about this through the questions, but all of our tutors are folks who are interested in education, nonprofits, or social justice. That's kind of the baseline requirement, is interested in doing the work. Anything else is like I said, very coachable. And over 50% of our tutors go on to careers in education. Benefits of the program: as an AmeriCorps program, we pay our tutors through a modest living allowance provided by AmeriCorps. That's $1,400 a month in Kansas City. There's also an education award, which is kind of the benefit that I like to tout in these discussions. If you complete a full year of service, you'll get a $4,200 education award to use towards any present or future education expenses. So it's a great way, if you're interested in going to school for education, it's a great way of paying for that, or going to school for anything else. You'll be eligible for childcare and SNAP benefits. You'll get health insurance, and you'll also become a part of the National AmeriCorps Network, which is a huge national network. So just summing up, tutors provide meaningful and measurable impact on the community. They receive professional development and training throughout the year, and oftentimes use this experience as a stepping stone to a career in education, nonprofits, or social justice work. That's all I've got for you here. If you have any questions, please contact us. The recruitment team's email is listed there, or you can email me directly, c.umlauf@theliteracylab.org. Our application is listed there as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
No, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this opportunity with us. It is a phenomenal program, and it really is a great inroad into the field of education if you want to kind of just step your toe in it and see what's going on. So again, Cal, thank you so much for being generous with your time and being here with us.
Thank you guys so much.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Cal.
Bye.